I don't see it that way. Yeah.
Like that fiber thing.
Don't subtract your fiber from your carbs.
Right. Johnny answered.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't look at it that way. Tell me what you're thinking, Johnny, with that question there.
I definitely would not take down your protein just because you're taking aminos. Just because we inject amino acids doesn't mean that we're going to get a source of protein like that we need to vitalize, to break down, right? We need this. Now, this is only going to optimize what you're doing, right? So you're getting your proper amino acids, plus you're getting your proper protein, all these different macros that you need. You're going to be doing good. If you're just relying on just like taking aminos as your protein source, that would be a problem, a big problem. So at that point, like me, I get all my food. That's usually where I get all my protein from. I will drink one of those ready-made shakes, the core, like maybe once or twice a day. I get it in right after my workout because I'm walking. I go in my truck real quick and I just pound it. And then when I get to the office, I'll eat a meal. But that's the way I'll get my extra protein in, because sometimes it's hard to get a lot of clean protein in. And if you got to get a lot of grams of protein in, you got to eat a lot of food, right? And you want to try to eat lean, or if you're bulking, you're doing different things like, eating some ground beef, or, you're eating some hamburgers, whatever it is. But at that point, like, for me, like, you definitely need to get the extra in. So that's where I get my extra source on. But amino acids are doing different things as far as that goes. So yeah, I would definitely be getting both of those things.
Also, just side note for viewers, one is a protein, and yes, that feeds the muscle, and you're trying to build muscle or retain muscle. Yeah. But the other thing that is it's calories. So think of calories as your weight, your lifting weight. So you go into the gym, let's say you can bench 100 pounds. Great. So you go in, and through that year, you continue to bench 100 pounds. And so your body can handle it, and it handles the pressure of that. And so it kind of keeps you healthy. Well, calories at a certain level, whatever that is for you, will keep the metabolism working and keep it moving and moving and moving. So the thought would be, I hope, is if you go, well, I'm not going to do 100 pounds no more. I'm going to go down to 50, and I'm going to take my calories and go from my 1,000 calories to 500. And so now you're going, okay, cool. The weights aren't as hard, but that's okay. Well, unfortunately in life, stress deteriorates you, right? Or it can strengthen you. So if you're going into the gym and pushing it, you don't need to be crazy, but just push it hard. You're fighting against that what the world does and age does is it breaks you down. Well, you're fighting against it to stay strong. And the same thing for your metabolism. If you keep cutting your calories, your metabolism is smart enough to go, wait a minute, you're kind of starving me. So what I'm going to do is I want to protect you because you're taking so much away from me. I'm going to eat your muscle because you have plenty of muscle. I want to make sure that you stay with that fat on your body so you're healthy. And so it continues to eat that muscle. And so what happens is it goes back to that anorexic person where they look visually tiny, but their body fats are in the range of 40%. Now, I imagine there's some people on here that are 10, 20, 30%, which is very big. So imagine a thin person having more percentage of body fat. And that's because that's how the body functions. The body functions, I want to keep you alive. I don't need you to look like a Greek god. Right. I just need fat around your organs and on your body. Yeah. And so understand those two separate things. Yes, amino acids is helping your muscle, but it's calorie intake.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely calories. Amino acids are building blocks of protein. That's exactly what they are. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying, man. You got to be able to eat. You got to get those calories in for sure, because your body, like you said, it doesn't care what you look like. It
Doesn't-
cares if you're running, right? And it'll do everything it possibly can to keep you running. It definitely will. The body is like, it's the best machine ever built for sure. 1,000,000%.
It wants to keep you alive. It doesn't want you to look like Mr. Universe.
Right.
And that's why there's plateaus, that's why it's plateaus. And you have to trick the body.
Yeah.
Or you can
Yep.
take peptides and other things over at Titan Medical to spike the body and optimize it to work better.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, Johnny, he said amino acids. What do you guys have over at Titan Medical for amino acids?
Sure. For amino acids, I mean, we've got a couple different variations or signature injectables. But the first one is Hercules Potion. Hercules Potion is a combination of 9 different things, from glutamine, ornithine, arginine, lysine, L-citrulline, proline, taurine, NAC, and L-carnitine. I mean, it's packed. So from recovery to muscle pumps to working out and be able to do more strenuous activity, helping liver functions out, more collagen in the body. I mean, there's just so many different benefits to this, and it's all natural. And the first thing you'll notice right off the bat is the pump, like how fast the pump comes on, how long the pump lasts, and the extreme pump that you get from it. So it's insane. And that's something I use every single time before I train. I can train without it, be fine, but at that point, I definitely notice a big difference when I train with it. And then obviously, I want to be optimal, and I want to have these amino acids running through my system. And the best way to get it transportation rate wise is injectable. The only other thing that would beat injectable would be intravenous, and that's through an IV. And you're not going to do that. The regular person is not doing that every time before they go work out. It just is what it is. I wouldn't do that just for the pure sake of, I wouldn't want to get a needle injected into my vein because, sometimes it leaves a mark and all that. Like, I don't want to look like a junkie. Okay. I'm not in it for that. But when you inject a little insulin needle into the muscle, and you can inject it in the muscle you're training that day, which is awesome, right? Because some guys want to bring up lagging body parts and things they're having problems with and create that mind to muscle connection. And this is a great way to do it, right? If you don't know what mind to muscle connection is, you need to find out. And at that point, this would definitely help you along your way to get to that point. And if you know what it is, you know how important it is to your workout, right? When you're having a good workout, you can connect with that muscle, you can feel that muscle, and you're on your way. If you don't, you're kind of like just going through the motions, right? I mean, I can't remember how that feeling. I guess I can remember how that feeling is. And going back to younger age, I guess, like you're throwing up the weights, just throwing them up, but you don't really get that connection. And it wasn't until later years, I think until I was honestly, it was 18 to 20 years old where I found a mind and muscle connection when I was training in the gym. Sports, I didn't need a mind and muscle connection there. It was more, I guess it was mind and muscle connection too there. Just a different way. Weights were a whole different thing for me, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with Johnny on that. And then, like I was saying earlier, I did the blood work where I found out that I'm still fine on my EAAs and BCAAs, even though I am doing the injectable in the morning. And then I have also extra in my drink, my first gallon of water throughout the day with my sodium and dextrose. It's like, so for me, at least I'm trying to do the very best I can for my body and rebuilding it. And again, I understand my calorie intake. I understand how much food I'm eating, carbs, fat, proteins. And then I'm just trying to do the best I can on optimizing it as well. I keep record of everything, so I know what I'm doing. I do recommend for you guys, if you guys want to, I guess, be able to change and go, okay, I need to take my protein up a little bit. I'm not recovering. I'm not building muscle. I'm not getting stronger, or I need to take my carbs up. But all those kind of things, again, with the blood work can help you out and show you where you're lagging.
It's a big one. It's definitely a roadmap to your own body. Being able to see inside, being able to see where what's at, right? Like the amino acids, like you were talking about that panel. It's such a cool panel. It really is. And a lot of people don't even know that you can test for that. And we talk about testing for all of your amino acids, the non-essential and the essential ones. So At that point, you're seeing, is your body really getting what it should get, right? And if you say that, one, you can get all of these things from your food sources, do it, test, and see. If not, then that can show you where you need to supplement a little bit more or try to eat some more food if that's what you're trying to do. But you can test your lines. Like if you were dead sure that you had the best supplement line ever and everything was going to be perfect on it, it was going to put everybody's levels above an optimal, you could test it through blood and see really where it's at. Because we can see. I mean, I test mine all the time. I know we test Mike, and at that point you can see. And trust me, Mike is probably your best example of one of the most consistent human beings that I know, besides myself. But he's very consistent. He's been here longer than me, so I got to give him props on that. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it a long time. So at that point, if he's not there all the way sometimes, then you are definitely not there. I want to definitely see some blood work, because every blood work that I see on that panel, Mike, I never see anybody like they're at least 3 or 4 off, 3 to 4. And it's really weird. It's just really different too for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, some people might be glutamine. Some people might be ornithine. It might be leucine. It might be all these different ones. But the branch chains, I definitely see a deficiency in people that aren't into supplementation. So if it's a regular person that doesn't go to the gym, could care less, they're a little bit overweight and obese, at that point, usually I see them with the most deficiencies, I guess. And maybe that's because they're not eating healthy, they're not active, or whatever it may be. I don't know. But that's usually where I do see it. Usually the people that are supplementing some sort, they usually got pretty good levels, but they're often like maybe 1 or 2.
I think it's only a benefit. I don't see how it isn't a benefit. At least check it, see where you're at, and then make that decision on it. I see people when I talk about BCAAs and EAAs, there's but that's social media now. I want to argue every point. That's what they do. It's just argue. It's like, all right, I don't see it. For me, I like to know where I'm at on the levels. I check it and I go, okay, so even though I'm doing as best I can still do better. Great. Right. And that gives me hope that I can continue to get even a little bit better, even if it's 1%. But I'm okay with that 1%.
And cool to even be able to see where you're at. Think about that. Be able to look at it like a picture. Like, all right, cool. Like, all right, this is where I'm at. Like, all right, I need to improve in these areas.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the other flip side of that. I don't understand the side of I read something somewhere where it says you don't need this, so I'm not going to do it, and you guys are just doing hype. It's like, well, okay, but just do your blood work and check for yourself. Right. I don't understand the point of you going, I read something. It's like, all right. I don't know that.
Read something all you want, but that doesn't mean that. I mean, everybody's different. So unless it had your blood and ran your blood and told you not to do this exactly because your blood said so, that's one thing. But at that point, to deny a fact and not even be able to check, it's one thing if you check about, yeah, see, all my stuff is perfect. I told you guys so.
Great.
Right? And that's awesome. But, I mean, before even doing that and like come to that conclusion, that's ignorant. That's being uneducated. Okay. So educate yourself and at least learn, or at least be able to speak on it properly. Facts, guys. Best transportation rate is injectable. Intravenous is the only other way, and you're not going to do that every day. So that's a fact. So I don't care if you're eating. Like, it's a fact. Like, if you inject it, you're going to get in your bloodstream quicker than the breakdown of food. But that doesn't mean you should stop eating food. That means that you should combine and conquer. Yeah, that's my take. You want to do this question here? All right. So, do you think TRT is safe for all men over 50, even if they have heart disease in their family? At Michael Hearn. So, yes, testosterone replacement or hormone replacement therapy can be safe for an individual that has heart disease in their family. It's actually been shown that testosterone is not negative for the heart, but actually positive for cardiovascular system. So at that point, like, you're actually going to benefit from taking testosterone with your heart. Now, obviously, listen, if you have like open heart surgery or you have something like that, and a physician says that this is probably not be the best bet for you, then we're going to follow that. But if you have heart disease in your family, which I do too as well, at that point, and that person's on testosterone, been on testosterone for at least 13 years. And at that point, cardiovascular, as far as me, is pretty good too as well. Echocardiogram and such. I've done a couple other testings just to make sure, but there's other studies out there. It's not just from me studying, right? Like, there's major studies out there for cardiovascular health and debunking the negative cardio effects that could happen. Now, I will say, if testosterone is abused like anything else, yeah, it could have some harmful effects and have some negative side effects for people. And at that point, if it's monitored correctly, it's done correctly, and if you're on the proper program, then you're going to get all the benefits with no negative side effects.
I got a question for you, Johnny, just so I fully understand this. A person over 50 on TRT is getting their blood work, or they're getting their testosterone back to a good dose of what their natural testosterone may have been when they were in the 20s and 30s.
Yep.
For somebody outside of this asking about heart disease, wouldn't this just make the person healthier all the way around because his testosterone is still in that active phase of a normal range?
Absolutely. As we age, we decline, and these hormones and other things start happening there, right? It's like dominoes falling. So at that point, all we're going to do is we're not going to jack you up. We're not here to give you like extreme numbers of testosterone, right? Like just pump you up. We're here to get you to an optimal level of natural, if that makes any sense. So higher up the reference range from, right? Like 264 to 916. We want to get you close to the 916 as possible. And all we're doing is we're taking back the clock internally. So when you were 18 to 21, your levels are probably the highest they were. Now, they probably were higher than 916, to be honest with you, at your natural level at your age. So, if anything, we're taking you back to those eras, and that's what we want to get out of it too. We want to get that energy kicked back up. We want to get you feeling good. We want the body to start responding like it should respond. And that's going to happen with testosterone being in place and being optimal, and all the other functions start lighting up.
The world has changed quite a bit. I know they talk about, and I just did this documentary about food and how the chemicals on food now, it's just at such a different level where, they're trying to get food to stay healthier on the shelf. So they're giving it more chemicals. I understand this, but then also the fact that these new research studies come out that says the 30-year-olds of today have the same testosterone range of the 50-year-olds in the 80s.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, well, that's 45 years ago, almost, right? 44 years ago, for those that are anal about correction. So it's amazing to think over the last 40 years that it's gone from the typical 50 is now the typical 30. So I understand the food has changed, the world has changed, society and stress has changed. But to say that the person's testosterone at 30 is as bad as the old timers back in the day, and what you're trying to do is you're just trying to correct that. You're not making, the super soldier from Universal Soldier, into the Olympics or something.
Yeah.
You guys are just getting back to what your natural range was when you were younger.
Yes.
So, which again, in my belief, is creating a super soldier because you're going to feel so incredible. And again, I'm speaking of the 30-year-olds that are damaged goods at this stage. So not even speaking about the 50-year-olds. The 50-year-olds, I can't fathom how traumatized their testosterone range is at this stage.
Some are, some aren't. It just really depends. But a lot are. I would say about 80%. That's a big number. And when I started Titan, like almost 13 years ago now, the testosterone level in the range, and LabCorp is only up to 916. That's the top of the total testosterone, 264 to 916. Still a huge range. But before it used to be 350 to 1150. On Quest, they still have it up to 1150. So it just depends on what lab you go to. But a majority of our patients go to LabCorp. The other 20% go to Quest because the state they're in, they have to go to. So when you see these numbers and you're like, man, like, why did you lower the reference range? It's concerning. It definitely is. And it's concerning. Our natural testosterone levels are dropping through the years. Fertility levels have dropped to an all-time low. I mean, this all has to do with testosterone too. Why do you think that fertility levels are getting low? Everything is it's all there. Like the writing's on the wall. It's just, what are we going to do to correct this? How are we going to correct this? And I think it really does lead back to food sources. It leads back to the chemicals we're putting on our skin. And it leads back to plastics too. I mean, all these things affect our hormones in our body. They're endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs. So at that point, like, they will do damage in ways that we don't know yet. I mean, we still don't know. So, you know, all the Tupperware, like all the other stuff, like, it's really crazy because we use this every single day.
A wild world that we live in.
It's true. Everything will kill you. Everything's got a negative effect in one way or shape or form.
Do we have a special this week over at Titan Medical?
We do. We do. So we're going to continue the weight loss journey, but we're going to do it with AOD 9604. That's one of my favorite peptide therapies as far as weight loss goes. It's not as extreme as a GLP-1. It's not going to make you nauseous. There's no negative side effects like stomach paralysis or anything like that goes along with it. Best thing about it, lipopolysis and lipogenesis. I was talking about. It sound like really cool words, but this is what AOD 9604 does in the body. It actually burns stored fat in the body and helps rev up the metabolism. Plus, it doesn't store fat in the body. The food that you're eating, it's going to use as fuel to push forward. So at that point, it's really good as far as safe. It's generally regarded as safe. So majority of people can do this, whether you have cardiovascular issues or not. Or any other problems. AOD is pretty good across the board. It's really, really cool. Like I said, I utilize this, and I take an ECA every day. So that combination right there will definitely cut me up just right there. It just really depends on what level you're at and where you're trying to go. Like, I'm not trying to go extreme cutting right now. I'm just trying to keep as much fat off as possible and gain some more tissue as I go along.
I just finished an interview, and they were talking about, I guess, yesterday or the day before was commitment fail day. So I guess it's an average of people January 1st, you know, they're all hyped up. I'm going to do this. This is the year. And then by the 12th or 13th, I guess it is that motivation is done and they're back to their old selves again. I would like to say this would be a great, if you've lost that motivation, that desire, maybe this is the time to check to see if maybe it isn't just the motivation in you, but it's your body working against you. And this would be a good time to do blood work to see, you know, is it your T levels are off? Is there something off for you that's throwing you out of this whack instead of you being hyped up?
It's true. It's only beneficial for somebody to get a blood test. And our in-depth blood test nationwide, it's very simple and easy to do. You literally just call us up, give us some information, we'll collect the payment, and we'll give you your prepaid lab requisition slip to walk into one of these labs in your zip code, which will direct you on where to go, right? And knowing what's going on, like, it's the best thing. And especially right now, January's here. Don't lose out on your resolution or whatever you're trying to accomplish. Give yourself the best tools and the best knowledge to be able to go forth.
Someone here says, could you imagine the blitz along with
AOD? That's right.
Yeah.
Peel, baby.
Yeah, the blitz diet and training will get you, and then with the AOD as well. And then I would even say, if you're doing something for the IGF, your testosterone would even heighten it even another stage.
Even more.
Right.
Even more. And then you get the growth hormone release too as well with testosterone, which you wouldn't get with AOD. Because remember, this is a 176 amino acid sequence of the 191 that's in growth hormone. But you don't get any of the great IGF-1 effect from it. So no recovery or anything like that. Just a weight loss effect, the metabolism boosting.
And that's one thing on this blitz program that I put together. It is, you do need the recovery because it's extreme on all aspects of training, and it is extreme on the nutrition as well, which is great too, because we incorporate in some tricks with the food that will help the IGF as well. So you're just double
Nice.
dosing here and really setting yourself up to win. So
Love it.
that's another level. And Jeremy, I think you would be somebody that would be already in great shape, but would be ridiculous.
Yeah. I see some good questions on there, a little bit up. One guy was asking about Enclomiphene or Clomiphene, excuse me, not Enclomiphene. He was talking about Clomiphene, which is a pretty good one. Yeah, your opinion on Clomiphene would be interesting. So Clomiphene, so Clomid, that's what it is, right? So Clomiphene or Clomid actually stimulates the FSH, the follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. And this ignites the testicles, and then you start releasing testosterone and creating new sperm. So this is usually used with fertility protocols, and it's used for younger patients to try to stimulate their own testosterone naturally. Like if you came into like a clinic or an endocrinologist per se or whatever, they're probably going to try to start you here. And at that point, what happens? So Clomid is it's a little pill you would take, and it's 50 milligrams usually. They've got 50 milligrams, which would be your daily dose. You would take it every single day. And it'll raise your levels, right? I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't, because it does. It will raise your levels. Most of the people, I would say, get probably like a 500 or 600 point jump. That's a really good jump from where they're at.
500?
500 points up from where they're usually at. So usually they'll come back at like 3. If they take 5, they might be like 700 or 800.
Wow.
All right. So on paper, they look good. They're like, damn, Mike, you just jumped up like 500 points. That's really good. And like, man, I still have symptoms. So you're like, damn, like, why do you have symptoms? So that doesn't work, right? If it's on paper and the person still has symptoms, that's a problem. Now, the other thing about Clomid is that it can have some negative side effects. And one of the major side effects from Clomid is dark thoughts, like suicidal thoughts, things you would never think about. And that actually happened with me when I took Clomid. Because remember, I'm patient 0. So for any patient to go through these programs, I want to go through them first and say, how was my experience on this? What did it do to me? So I got off testosterone, right? I went on Clomid, and I went on Clomid for 30 days. And it was probably the worst experience I've ever been with, right? So now it brings me down the trail to Enclomiphene. Enclomiphene and Clomiphene are different. They're in the same family. They're like a molecule different. Will raise your testosterone too, ignites LH and FSH, but you don't get any negative side effects as far as dark thoughts, right? And it works good, just like Clomid does. It will jump the numbers. And some people will stay there for a little bit, but it's not what testosterone would do for them, if that makes any sense. You would feel a big difference between Enclomiphene and testosterone. But the numbers would still be good. Like, there are patients that don't want to do testosterone or want to just go as long as they possibly can without doing testosterone. So they either do Enclomiphene or HCG. So that's our take on it. That's my take on it anyway. I would stay away from Clomid, and I would do Enclomiphene if you're looking at going down that route. And if you are on HRT taking testosterone, a lot of places will not make you take any aromatase inhibitor, and they will not make you take any gonadal support. And Enclomiphene is the gonadal support. It will make sure your testicles are the good size that they stay as, right, and not shrink up. And it will keep your natural production and semen production going too as well. There will be a lot of guys out there say, I don't care. I'm 56 years old. I got 4 kids. I don't want any more kids, right? Well, listen, at that point, it's up to you, because you can still get a girl pregnant with low sperm count, right? But you want your sperm. We don't want you to have any negative side effects. And that's a negative side effect. If your girl's going to be like, what the hell's going on? I don't care what you say or not. They're going to be like, what's going on? So at that point, like, that's going to be there, the aesthetic issue and your natural production. And this is a good reason, because if you ever want to get off testosterone, let's say there's a health issue or some problem or whatever it is, your natural production will never get shut off, and you're not just going to crash down. So that's it.
Would does either of those also help the free testosterone?
So yes. when you ignite FSH and LH, usually, and this is just like somebody that had low testosterone. Let's say a guy has low total testosterone, 200, right? And his free is a 9. That's what it comes back on the blood test. Well, all right, cool. This guy's going to get testosterone. Let's put him on 200 milligrams. Cool, let's do it. We put it in him. He gets it. 2 weeks, he'll be at like 900 per se. And, everything is going to be dialed in. As far as free, he'll be at like probably a 25. Everybody's testosterone usually rises when you start putting testosterone in the body. There are some people out there that it's not free, right? It's bound up. When the SHBG is high, your free testosterone is low, then at that point you have to unbind this. If a person's on testosterone, we can put them on this medication called Danazol, which will free up their testosterone that day. And at that point, they can take that along with their therapy. I don't recommend it for people that just aren't going to be on testosterone. Every time we try this with somebody and they have a great total, but they have a horrible free. And I tell these story all the time. We've done it. We did it, I think, like 2 weeks ago. And the guy was complaining about his total testosterone coming down. But his free was through the roof. So, I mean, it did its job. But unfortunately, it will bring total testosterone down. So I don't think that's a benefit unless you're like, hey, that really doesn't matter to me. And you really keep that phase when it comes back, and it comes back a little lower. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to see it. And then you're like, oh, I really didn't want this. Reverse this. And I don't know if it'll reverse.
I have a question.
Honest, being very transparent.
It's a side note, just for my intake. Hypothetically, the guy that came back with a lower T level, but his free T level was much higher, did he come back with actual data for himself saying, I don't have as much energy, I don't feel as go, my mind's a little cloggy now because my T's lower? Or did he just come back because of the fact?
We tried to triage it, and as soon as like he seen the number, he was stuck on the number.
Okay.
And people are like that, and that's what I've encountered with most people that I see on these blood tests. And I tell them straight up, I'm like, listen, do you feel better? Like, honestly, like, do you feel any different in any way, shape, or form? Even if it's negative, like, do you feel worse? And they'll never say they feel worse, especially when their free comes back. Their free comes back high. Like, I know people that they come in for a blood test and their natural low T is low, their total, and their free testosterone is high naturally, like not balling high, but on the top of the range. And they'll be like, man, like, I didn't think I had low testosterone.
Right.
It's because they're free with, because their free was rocking. They were having sex. Usually free testosterone usually correlates with erections to a lot of part of it. Or energy in some cases. But at that point, like, those people didn't know, and they were having, good times, no problems. But when they see it, they're like, damn. And then when they went on the program and everything was, they were like, I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. So, it is what it is. You want both to be optimal. I would like to get free, I guess, the most, but I would like to see both optimal if I could.
I'm going to do some more research into that so I understand better myself. It seems like if the free is great and then you have even a moderate T level, you're going to be fired up and moving really healthy compared to the guy that has a buttload of T and no free test working for you. So I just know also, I'm in the industry of health and fitness and bodybuilding. And I know that's one of the big things that those guys try to do is really get their free testosterone clean and high. So they seem to become better bodybuilders, build more muscle, get leaner. So there seems like a lot of aspects of that in the health and fitness in the bodybuilding world, which again, I know is down outside. We don't want to play in that field, but at least that's what's going on over there.
Definitely.
Right. We learn.
What about taking both Enclomiphene or Enclomiphene test? So you would want to take both. And the reason that I just said was because when you take exogenous testosterone, natural function is going to get shut off. when you take Enclomiphene along with testosterone or HCG, at that point, that natural production is still going to go. It's like a false signal. It still says, hey, listen, keep working. We're still going, right? There's nothing turning us off. If you take it, or if you don't take it with testosterone, then at that point, you're going to get a shutdown. And then eventually you're going to shrink. And then at that point, semen production is going to lower. And that's what it is. You'll have testosterone if you keep injecting it or put it in your body in any way, shape, or form. All right.
This next
Any
question.
tight medical branches out here in Cali? Might be time for my first blood work check-in. So we service nationwide everywhere. It's real simple and easy. Mike's out in California, right? So at that point, all you have to do is call us or text us, and we'll get some information from you. We'll collect the payment. We'll send you a prepaid lab requisition slip, and we'll direct you to the nearest LabCorp location in your area in California, wherever you're at. Or if you're in, I don't know, Indiana or New York or wherever you guys are located, we can help you with blood work. We'll set everything up for you. We'll get the results automatically, expedited too as well. So at that point, you're going to be good.
Yeah. Just remember, everybody here, and we just had this great interview with Generation Iron. The great thing about Titan Medical is that their base, their office is out there in Florida, but it doesn't matter where you are in the United States. Again, you contact them, you get set up, get your client information to them.
Yep.
And then all you got to do here is do the blood work. And then, you're going to have a Zoom call, right? Is it Zoom or some kind of call?
A video conference call with a medical provider. They're going to go through all your blood work. They'll go through all your health history, family health history, your activity, the symptoms, where you're trying to go as far as goal-wise, and then personalize a regimen and curtail it to what you want to do. It's real simple, real easy, and you have a lot of time with the provider. A lot of places just want, hey, and you get 5 minutes. Hey, this. They check off the boxes, you're out the door. It's not going to be a turn and burn situation like that. You'll have 30 to 45 minutes with the medical provider to go over all your questions, your concerns, and learn about different therapies that you might want to use to help you get to where you want to go.
This next one's great because this could also be told not just
All right,
the basic,
yeah,
but also
how can you tell you're overdoing it in terms of overtraining? I mean, what, you're not getting stronger, you're not progressing. I mean, I think at that point that's kind of like that's a telltale, I guess. If you're training arms every single day or one body part every single day, all over and over and over, I think you're overdoing it there. And you're probably not going to get anything out of it. You might get a little out of it. I don't know. I always see some of these guys, and Rich Piani say, "You want big arms? Go home and do 50 curls every single night," or something like that. It was something crazy. I don't know. I've never done that, but what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, you'll know results. Results will tell you if you're moving in the right direction or not. Are you getting stronger, weaker? Are you feeling fatigued? Are your workouts as good as they were the weeks before? Those are all signs. But again, make sure that you're keeping track of your nutrition. You're training on a program. You're not just, I guess you call it spitballing. I'm eating whatever I want. I'm going to the gym and no plan. Unless you really know your body, my recommendation is keep track of it somewhat. It works for me still to this day that at least I keep some kind of track to understand, because overtraining is, it's pulling you back.
It is. It sucks. It does.
And it can take
We think extra work equals extra productivity, but it's not. It's working smarter and not harder, right? I guess that's where the term comes into play.
And then think of the damage that you're doing long term. If you're just continuously overtraining, that's tons of mileage that you're going to pay for later on in life. And you hear this all the time with, people that trained. Oh, if I could go back, I would never do this, this, and this. It's like, well, you were overtraining, you were doing things incorrectly, and you weren't really supporting it with nutrition and recovery. So, it's a give and take. You gotta be really smart about this stuff. Weightlifting and eating right can so enhance your body. It can make it great. But if you do it wrong, it could do the same. It could turn you the other way.
So true. All right. Blake P said, can I get gains and still drink alcohol on the weekends? So I was going to bring this up to you anyway, personally, Mike. Like, did you see like Surgeon General recommended that cancer warnings be put on alcohol now?
I
It's
did not
crazy.
do that. It's great.
Thousands of cancers they say can come from drinking alcohol. So it's kind of nuts. Now, can you still get gains drinking alcohol on the weekends? I mean, I guess you can. I wouldn't say no. Because I do know I did. I ain't gonna lie. Like there was times in my life where where I did go out and party on the weekends. I don't think I got to the extreme that some of these other people do, but I used to go out and drink some drinks, and I still would gain per se. But I don't know. I mean, looking back at it, I wouldn't do it now. I think I could, if I could relive that time, I'd be a little bit smarter about things. I think I could get better gains if I didn't drink the alcohol that I drank at that point in time. And I guess even now, like I'll still have like a couple of drinks here or there, but the next day after I have those drinks, I feel like, I don't know, like I have to go to the gym and pump back up again. It feels like I've lost something overnight, and I haven't. It's all in my head, but it's just the way that I feel, I guess. So, I mean, alcohol for gains is probably not your best bet. But I mean, it doesn't mean that you probably couldn't get it. I mean, there are people that drink, right? That still like work out and train. So, I mean, at that point, what can I say? I know you're against alcohol for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna half-ass it, that's your call.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't recommend it for people.
Yeah, you're young, make your decisions. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you want to go out once a month or every couple months, you go out and party up. Yeah, fun, but you're going out every single weekend.
Yeah, that's not good. You got to get priorities straight. It should be your body, your temple, right, and then your money in your pocket at that point. If I was young, when I was young, that's kind of what it was: body and money.
Yeah,
girls automatically came. So there might be guys like, oh, girls just they probably couldn't get girls. Girls the easy thing. All right, the body was the hardest thing for me, right, and then the money was the second hardest, and they both became easy after a while. Kind of get that down pat. All right, so what are the best exercises to help strengthen tendons and joints? I think slow and steady in any exercise, right? I mean, I don't think I like cable work and tension, but free weights are good too as well. I mean, I like them both. I like to utilize both. I mean, machines, I guess, can be used too. But that's what I would do. Now, listen, with this, this is very, very important because as you get older, if you don't take care of your tendons and joints, you'll be in a bad position. I'm in a bad position with my shoulder, and the only thing that gets me by is BPC 157 and TB 500, our healing peptides, and that's something that I would recommend for people to help with a preventative, or if they're having problems. If you're having problems with tendons, joints, ligaments, muscles, at that point, be precautious and be preventative first. But if there's something that does happen, these will be lifesavers for you, I promise you. I mean, they help me out every single day, and they help so many of our other patients out. So, if you're looking to strengthen tendons and joints, I would say these would be a good add-on for that. And a lot of good time under tension exercises too as well, not too heavy of weight.
Yeah, I agree with Johnny. Be preventative. BPC and TB 500, it's life changes. And then if you're going to, weightlifting is stress. So I would try to do the least amount of mileage as you're still trying to stress the body to get stronger. And that's, again, anything that gets bone density better helps connective tissue. And that's what weightlifting should be about. So again, it's mileage, least mileage, most stress.
What will be the best way for me to come back down to 185? I'm 206, trying to cut weight fast. Obviously, listen, I shouldn't have to say it. Nutrition, make sure your diet's on point, make sure your training's on point, sleeping, drinking water, 4 essentials. After that, what can Titan do? Titan can help you out in a number of different ways. From our ECA Stack Plus, which is an oral capsule, help thermogenesis in the body, give you energy, stimulate the mind a little bit. You have the AOD 9604, which we just talked about. It's a therapy of the week. It's a peptide therapy for weight loss, and this can help in a number of different ways, from lipogenesis to lipopolysis, destroying fat, helping you move and get on with it. Because you're only talking about, 15, 21 pounds. So AOD would be a good one. You can match those together. And listen, if you're really trying to get it down quick and you really want the big bad boys, then semaglutide or tirzepatide, the GLP-1s, will be the way to do it. I think you get down pretty quick like that, but you got to make sure that you're eating enough protein because you don't want to take out that muscle that you've gained because it's hard to put on muscle and lose fat.
Agreed. AOD, tessimamorelin, take out 50 grams of carbohydrates for the next couple of weeks, and then take it on another 50 grams after that, and you're gold. You're there. You're there and look ridiculous. Those simple steps.
Easy. Mike, do you do jiu-jitsu? I stopped because of injuries. Gym is more important. Oh, Mike definitely does this.
Yeah, I do. It's all important, right? It's all what you have fun with doing. I understand your point, but it's all fun.
Yeah. Listen,
We had
injuries,
great-
BC and TB.
We had a great talk today. I had these two UFC fighters, and we were just discussing the process of not just training, but training for a long period of time, in the sense of years and decades, and how these guys' careers are so short, and how MMA, they're in a situation that they can't be. This is a hard way to say it, but they can't be smart because they have to do all these different aspects of training. And so they do so much training that there's not enough time to recover.
Right.
It's like boxing, then they got wrestling, then jiu-jitsu, and then the stand-up, then the sparring, then the weight training, then the cardiovascular. And then it's like 6 to 8 hours of training, day in and day out. And so you talk about putting your body through a hardship, that's props to anybody that can do that. But again, for you guys that are here, weightlifting, if done correctly with recovery from Titan Medical, can not just set you up to be incredible, but it can keep you in that feeling of 20 years old into your 40s. So I know society right now, we talked about it, Johnny's talked about it, the 30-year-olds now have the T levels of the 50-year-olds back in the 80s. Well, let's reverse that. Let's reverse it for everybody that's here today. You should be that 50-year-old that feels like the 30-year-old, in my opinion. And John's a great example of somebody that's living the lifestyle, and he enjoys. Johnny gets out there. He enjoys. So
be out there.
So he's a great example of somebody that can really enjoy life, eat balanced, and still train all the time, and feel and look like a superhero. So
it's important. Hey guys, any reason to take a creatine break if I've been taking the maintenance dose of 5 grams for over a decade? So I don't see it unless there's some issues that are coming up in the blood work or somebody's telling you to stop. I don't know. Why would you stop? At that point, you can continue on with that dose.
Yeah, great job. You've been training and eating right for a decade. Most people can't do it for 3-4 weeks. So
right.
That's props to you. And then along with that, you've been doing your supplementation. So I'm assuming that you're extremely healthy and you've done your blood work and you know what's going on. That's how you would know if you need to stop something or start something, right?
Definitely. If I'm doing a cut and I'm 3 weeks in, have one cheat day, then go right back for another 2 to 3 weeks. Does that cheat day ruin anything? Cheat day or cheat meal? Cheat day? Wow. Where are we going for breakfast? Where are we going for lunch? Where are we going for dinner? Man.
3 weeks, can I get a cheat day?
I'm ready for a cheat day. Cheat meal? Cheat day.
Sure.
I guess cheat day, same thing.
Go enjoy yourself. Go have it. I don't know what you're going to tell you. We've talked about this. There's the cheat day, or what are the two terms? A high day. There we go. So a high day is to make sure that your body is still working with you, because a deficit, even if you're doing it right, a deficit can still shut down your moving forward process. Your body can go, hey, plateau, I'm stopping. You've gone 3 weeks hard. I'm stopping. So that's when you pull in the high day. That's fine. But your body's telling you to do this. This isn't something that you're telling your body. Is this a good time? 2 weeks in? Johnny, can I go party?
Yeah.
A cheat day, I consider, is an emotional day. You've done 2-3 weeks. You need an emotional day. And again, fine. I'm cool with somebody. You've done 3 weeks. Good job. Have your fun. Get back to it. But those are two different things.
Big time.
Yeah. Johnny, you ever have a cheat day?
A cheat day?
Yeah, you have a cheat day or a high day.
Of course. Me, like I said, I'm more of I want a hamburger, like a cheeseburger. Not from McDonald's, not from Wendy's, like a good hamburger. That is and homemade fries. Homemade cut fries. I'm living. That's my cheat meal. I guess if I have a milkshake later on, that would be my cheat day. And that would be a homemade milkshake with milk and Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Johnny doesn't. He doesn't do. Everybody's here, just so you know. I've seen him have a high day and a cheat day. It's still really good. It's
good. I'm trying to think. Like
Keith Evans,
the last one we had together. Jesus,
Keith
in
Evans
Vegas.
has a cheat day or a high day. Johnny. That's why Johnny looks the way he does.
I try to have fun.
Great.
I wish I could eat some of the stuff I used to eat before. I can't eat some of the stuff I used to eat before.
Same.
Just don't feel all right. Pre-workout drink. First thing when you wake up before breakfast and then gym. Wow. Oh, man. You want to just get it in the body, right? Pre-workout. I wouldn't take a pre-workout, but if you want to take a pre-workout, that's totally fine. Would I take it on an empty stomach? I guess if you wanted to hit you hard. Everything is going to hit you a lot harder if you don't have anything in your stomach for sure. So I don't know.
Johnny, you do have something though that is a pre-workout.
Yeah. So listen, if you want the best pre-workout, things you would take before a workout, I would do, and this is what I do, I would do an ECA Stack Plus capsule. And we have different dosages, different people tolerances. Take that. That'll give you a stimulant effect, right? So you want that go effect, but you want to be bounced off the walls, eyes crossing, and feeling all like you got spiders crawling over you. So at that point, that's what I would take there. And then I would take a Hercules potion. You'll get the pump, the recovery, all that good stuff. And that pump's going to last a lot longer than the garbage pre-workouts that you're taking, guaranteed. And you're having natural, clean energy. You're not going to feel like you got to go to the bathroom and crazy stomach problems, because listen, I used to take pre-workout way before dieting. I mean, that was like, that was my thing. And it was the best. Nitric oxide. That's what I used to take. I think, was it nitric oxide? NO2 Explode. That used to be like my go-to pre-workout. And I used to drink that. It used to be bomb, but man, I used to not have so good times in the bathrooms before those workouts because when I get there, I'm So, yeah. I mean, that's what I would take in the morning. I wouldn't take any pre-workouts anymore. That's just my opinion. But ECA Stack Plus, nice and clean energy, and then Hercules Potion. Boom! You got yourself the best pre-workout guaranteed.
I think something else too is Titan Medical has and so you're more focused. Like you said, you're not so jittery. It helps. It works with your body to burn fat. So there's so many more aspects to what you're doing compared to the guy that's just doing the pre-workout drink. So
absolutely,
I would check into that. And then, if you want to take it first thing in the morning, it's fine. Get you to workout in. But again, my thing is that you could take it, wait 15, have your meal, then go train. Is my recommendation. Unless you're in a slice mode, then the diet's different.
Yeah. Can too much carbs give you love handles and a belly? Well, yeah, of course. I mean, what kind of carbs are you talking about there? Talking about those pasta carbs? I want some pasta. I
do too. Why? Geez, that sounds good.
I mean, of course, guys, listen, if you eat too much carbs, too much sugar, all this stuff, this is going to accumulate fat, and fat's going to accumulate to love handles and a belly. So if your calorie count's high and you're going over and over and over and eating a whole bunch of carbs, a whole bunch of cake and all those little good things that you want, this is going to result in that, I guess, and then you're going to have to come to Titan to help get you back in line and get you straight and get you responsible to make sure that you can get that belly off.
That last question, it's like the typical dinner question. Somebody says, hey, I've been eating a lot of carbs. I'm getting a little love handles. Just so you guys understand, by a lack of exercise and a surplus of calories, that being your protein and carbs and some healthy fats, can still get you to love handles. So just take into consideration that your nutrition should be somewhat on point, and you should understand what your body's working with. So blood work.
Yeah.
I recommend finding out where your calories are for you, so that way you could be like John. John is regimented, has a rough idea on how much he can eat, and he stays with that every day, and he looks like he does, and he takes his shirt off 24/7, 365. So I'd just keep those kind of little simple things in there.
It's good. Definitely good. Deadlifts, full reset from the floor versus floor bounce from the rack at the hip. This is all you, Mike. I would do full.
I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing the deadlifts for? Are you doing it just for reps? Are you doing it for a powerlifting meet reset? If you're just doing it for reps and you're doing tap and go, there's no bounce though. That I'd get rid of that word.
Right.
It's a tap and go. It's not a bounce.
What would you recommend for reoccurring pain? Well, it depends where that pain's at, but BBC 157 and TB 500 we've been talking about quite a bit. And if you have acute or chronic pain in some of these different areas, these can be lifesavers. So that's what I would recommend. I don't know where this reoccurring pain, I don't know if it's what it's from, what it's doing to you, I guess, but that's what I would just say off the bat, just by knowing what you've told us.
Yeah, go get it checked. Go get it checked. And if it's something minute, geez, get over to Titan Medical. Yeah, that way you don't have to do surgery.
What would be a great folic acid supplement? Well, we have an injectable folic acid that you can do. Pretty cool. I mean, this has been a big one, especially with cardiovascular patients asking for folic acid. There's a lot.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean,
is that also in your biotin?
Folic acid is, but at that point, like, you can get folic acid straight injectable. Because you can get a biotin straight injectable and you get a folic acid straight injectable.
I gotcha. Great for the hair, skin, nails.
Absolutely. 100%. What is that?
Got another one, Jeff?
Girl. It's basically the yeah, we got a.
1 second, John. Did you see something?
No, I was just reading the Terminator one real quick. It made me laugh. Hulk Smash Entertain. I'm 23 years old, 6 foot, almost 200 pounds. Taking 140 grams of protein per day. What weight could you see me at with adding healthy weight if I up the protein to 300? Thanks, Mike. I've learned a lot from you. I mean, geez, that could be a lot, right, Mike? I mean,
Great potential.
Yeah, I mean, geez.
But if you're already 200 pounds, your protein would be close to that range right now.
Right. So he's underneath right now.
Yeah. And the jump you're saying from 140 to 300, I think because of your age, I think you're going to do great. So I'd just take it up a moderate amount and then just keep stepping from there.
Do you recommend aggressive cutting or mini cutting?
Wow.
I try to do the unicorn effect anymore myself. I've been trying to bulk a little bit, so I've been eating a little bit more calories on days, but I mean, I don't like to do the aggressive cutting. It's more of like a mini cutting for me, I guess. 12 weeks. That's what I've been trying to do right now. That's what I've been trying to learn from Mike on this one. What's the best way for me to do this? I know my body. I know what I've done by myself, but can I take some things and learn from him and some other people and be able to utilize it? So that's what I do. I'm trying to trust the process myself. What do you think, Mike? You think mini cutting or aggressive cutting?
I always say the 12 weeks is probably gold unless you have something that just popped up and you got to get ready for the class reunion or something. And then go the mini, you just blast it. Do the 30-day blitz. But again, like you said, it's always smarter over a slower, longer period of time.
How do I take the tension out of my elbows and focus on my triceps during dumbbell skull crushers and overhead tricep extensions? I keep my elbows in as much as possible and try to focus on using the tricep itself while doing it, and that usually takes attention off mine, like when I'm doing it. But I don't do a lot of dumbbell skull crushers anymore. Overhead tricep extensions I do, but it does cause me a little pain in the shoulders.
Yeah, just slow. You're going to always feel pressure, but just try to place it into it. And like Johnny said earlier in this discussion, learn to pose, learn to flex. And so you're trying to control it by the muscle. But you're always going to feel pressure. You get under a 500-pound squat. I'd like to not feel it on my back and knees. You're still going to feel it there, but just disperse it over the whole body.
Is it okay to do legs and arms in the same day if I'm feeling the desire to mix it up and get the blood flowing? Whew. Wow. Well, if I do legs too hard, I'm feeling nauseous. I literally got to get a meal in. So at that point, I don't know about doing arms the same day. You could. Just depends, I guess, on how much you're doing. I know you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I love it. If you're getting a good leg workout in, and they always joke about that. It's funny. It's like, you do a good leg workout, you're not doing much else, even in life. Not only are you
not able to walk out of there.
Your legs and you're wobbling out. So, I did say something about MMA fighters and how they have to do so much. I understand the concept of you feel great that day. But going extreme one day just to bounce back lower the next day, to me, doesn't make sense. I think just consistent, do the best you can each day. I wouldn't overload. It's the third, and the Olympic coach was saying that a third. You're going to have a third of great workouts, a third of basic workouts, and a third is going to be bad workouts.
Yep.
And that's great. If that's where the level is, that's really good. So you're going to have those great days, but don't turn a great day into something that you're going to purposely fumble the next 3 days because you overwork that day.
What do you think about high 20 to 50 versus low 3 to 8 rep counts? I think you're doing two different things, right? At that point, like you want the low reps to build strength and the high reps, right? For more endurance and stamina type sets. I mean, it's a lot still, but.
Wow, 20 to 50?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
What I usually do is I've been incorporating my training on my fourth set. I usually do, I go down to about half or whatever the max is, and I'll rep it out to 25, and I'll try to get to 50, but it's usually 25 to 30 reps. And I probably burn myself out or put more mileage on myself, but this is the way I've been training. It just is what it is. I've been trying to get both ends.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't. Yeah, if you're getting 30 reps with something, again, weightlifting is stress, right? It's not the lactic acid burn, which is fun, and I get it, but it's stress to the body. And so I always think smarter, less mileage is a win. Tear the fiber and get out. Lee Haney said it best. Stimulate, don't annihilate. And it sounds like 50 reps on something. Yeah, I get it. You're working out with your friends. You're going to have fun on a day. On one day, you're going to do something funny and silly like that. That's great, And then 3 months later, do it again. But I don't think there's ever going to be a discussion of one or the other. One is fun, and you're doing it with the guys. The other one is just training. which I recommend.
Do you guys recommend getting adjusted by chiropractors often, or more physical therapy styled or heavy ass lifting to keep structure and health, or a mix? I think if you need a chiropractor, you need to get adjusted. That'd probably be the route to go. I mean, if you need to get a good chiropractor, there's good and bad out there. And there's different things that they offer too for recovery too as well that you could probably take advantage of.
Yeah, I think if you can find somebody that gets your body in alignment, I think it's a great thing. It's a plus. It's another thing to it. If you like saunas, do saunas. If you like cold plunges, do them. If you like a chiropractor, do it.
Yeah.
None of this stuff, unless you can't continue to do them, you know what I mean? It's like I go to a chiropractor once every 6 months. Well, okay, there's no real consistency there.
Right.
You know, I cold plunge once every 3 months. It's like, okay, try to make a program for everybody here. Just try to make a program and then stay with it 70%. You're gonna be gold. You're gonna be really, really good. But first, get your blood work done. All this that I'm telling you about nutrition and training comes after blood work.
Yeah, blood work's everything. Starting point.
Nepal.
Hi, sir. Big fan from Nepal. How many days should I train to maintain muscle? For how long and improve conditioning and strength with time? 3 to 4 days. That's what I would say.
Yeah, same. Whatever that program is set up on. Again, 12-week program. If you're cutting or building, set it up. Set that program up. I wouldn't maintain though. You look way too young to maintain.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's to move forward.
Yeah.
It's like the little chisel, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a slow process forward because life is going to move you back.
Yeah. How do you feel about 2-arm dumbbell row versus barbell row? What are the pros for each?
Oh, I like both.
Dumbbell row versus barbell row. I mean, this is the only thing I would get out of it. I think, I don't know, like you might be able to connect to one muscle a little bit better, I guess, if you're doing it single armed. I don't know, because you're more focusing on that one side. Like, so for example, for me, like it's a little bit harder to get different things firing on this side where my shoulder's at. And at that point, I will single out some exercises to really make sure that it's working properly. And the other arm is not compensating for what's not going on in this arm. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But that would be the only way. Otherwise, I would do 2-arm or regular barbell row, just as what it is.
Yeah, I love them both. And 2-arm dumbbell row is such a beast of an exercise.
Yes.
It's like bent over barbell. Barbell rows with the bar is already badass.
Yeah.
But if you ever try it with 2 dumbbells, whew,
Yeah.
it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. So I think they're both great exercises.
Definitely. It's good stuff, man. What else we got? Run blocks, 3 to 6 weeks, then change it up. See what works for you. Run blocks. There you go.
I like it. Man. Get Johnny out there. Getting some sprint work in with Drew.
Oh, I don't know if Drew would run. I don't know.
Don't cut into the gains. He looks too good. He looks way too good, man. Big Drew. Oh my gosh. All right. Last one, Johnny. We'll let you go.
Sure. Why is Lee Haney the most underrated champion? I don't know.
Nobody said that. Nobody in the history of any world said that.
Nobody could say that.
Yeah, that's not what is it? WJ?
Just by Sandals alone, man. I mean, the only person that can come close is Coleman, and that's it.
Yeah, nobody's ever said that about Lee. Lee Haney's one of the greatest, and he was the first original monster. Big boy.
That's what I'm saying. 8 times.
Brilliant, smart, kind human. He's a pinnacle of the industry.
Yeah.
Underrated. There's only how many Mr. Olympias? 8 or 9? Yeah, none of those guys are underrated. Those guys are all great. Larry Scott from the beginning to Frank Zane to Frank.
Yeah,
they're all 16 winners.
I think it's because the last year there's always been a new one.
Oh yeah. This last 10 years,
It's always just someone new.
Dexter and so on. Yeah, no, great guys, man. Johnny, thanks for hanging, man.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you as always for having me. I appreciate all you guys and all the questions and all the good stuff out there. So if you guys need help, nationwide service, call or text us 727-389-3220. We'll help you out.